Hey, it's episode 140-something of The Brink of Sanity. I think
Brink of Sanity.
141. Sounds about right.
Yeah, why not?
Anyway, we are joined here today by Marc and Ben. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great.
And Marc, no baby yet?
No baby yet. Baby very soon. Wife is in the other room. Labor has started. And baby will be coming soon. I sound pretty heartless by saying labor has started and I'm doing the show. But for all those that actually had a kid, basically we went to the hospital earlier, like in the middle of the night. We were sent home. We went back for an appointment she had scheduled today. They sent us home, and they said it can come today, it can come a couple days from now, and you kind of just have to, like, kill time. And so she's taking a nap in the other room, trying to kill time. So I am doing the show to kill time.
If I knew a baby was coming, I would not be able to nap. I would just be freaking out.
I think you just get tired. We went to the hospital at 1 a.m, and I'm just freaking tired. I'm just freaking tired now. Also, I can take a nap pretty easily. It was weird. So she's like, so there were some signs that indicated that we should go to the hospital. We called up and they said you should come in. And so we get all the bags. I'm like, this is it. This is going to happen. Oh my God, I'm going to have a baby soon. And then 2 hours later, we came home. I was like, okay, this is really just a weird experience.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. And Ben, you're calling from some insane country on the other side of the world.
Kiev, Ukraine, Eastern Europe.
So it is very late, I would assume.
It is 2:10 a.m.
You are a trooper for joining us. Thank you.
I'm usually up until 1, even on work nights, so I just get to enjoy my tequila longer tonight.
Sounds good.
For all those geography majors out there who are trying to figure out where the Ukraine is, just picture the map and just go to make a right from London, and you're there.
Or play Risk. It's one of the countries in Risk, right?
Yeah, it's supposedly the biggest single plot on the Risk board. You're just basically in between Vampire Country in Romania and Russia. So between the two mountain ranges, Carpathians and the Urals.
I have a good friend who's Russian. He where his family lives, it's like a big Russian area. They have all these Russian friends. He was born in Ukraine, and so we're always like, well, you're not really Russian, you're Ukrainian. And he's like, no, I'm Russian. Is there any what do you think about that?
They actually had we have a passport. Our passport is to travel outside of the country. They have 2 passports. They have one external for international travel and what they call an internal passport, which would be like your state ID and Social Security combined. And in it, they have your citizenship, which is your country, Ukraine, but then they have your nationality. And that can be Russian. They even have Jewish, which I don't understand.
How's that a nationality?
I know. I got in a big argument with a guy about that back in college, and I think I think they mean Hebrew, like ethnicity, not nationality.
Well, I understand when people say "What are you?" They'll say "What are you?" and someone will say, "Well, I'm black, I'm Puerto Rican, or something like that, or I'm Russian." And then the Jewish people will say, "I'm Jewish." I'll say, "I'm Jewish," and I'll say that because I don't really identify with any other background. So the only common background I have is Jewish. But you can't say your nationality is not Jewtopia.
Yeah, it's not Jewland. There's no such place.
Yeah, you could say I'm Israeli. That would be the actual place. I don't really understand that.
I think it just I think it's just a difference between religion and ethnicity. I always thought a better translation for it would be Hebrew, because there's a Hebrew heritage, not only a language but sort of like ethnicity.
Yeah. So wait, how do you end up? So the nationalities, you're from Ukraine. Everyone's from Ukraine, but the nationalities are different. How do you just decide that? Because it is you get to choose.
I guess it's from your parents. I never got really involved with it. They got some crazy rules here, everybody's middle name is their father's first name with an ending added on it, depending on whether they're a boy or a girl. And I have 3 kids. I did not want any of my kids to have a middle name of Benjaminovich or Benjaminivna. So we just gave them separate names. And when people see their names, they think there's 3 different fathers because all 3 middle names are different. And my wife gets weird looks like, who are you?
So you're not from the Ukraine, though, are you?
No, I'm from Texas.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I was like, you don't really have an accent at all. So,
how did you get lost and end up there?
Oh, I fell in love with my wife at the University of Texas.
They're the future of America. So let's build them up strong and give them our.
Is that my computer?
No, that is mine. Sorry, folks.
From us than any other American.
They have that
We're
ad
a very
on
professional show.
Well, they have that ad on Ustream through the Facebook group that you can't turn off, and so that's been happening a lot. And I turned it on before the show started, so it didn't happen, and it decided to play again a half hour later. So I guess I just can't win. So if you leave a message in the Facebook group, I will probably just never see it. All right.
I get the idea of Facebook. Like they keep adding new things to Facebook, like suggest a friend. This is someone you should contact. Here's an email you should use. I think eventually it's going to be a requirement that we go on Facebook every day and watch ads also.
I know it's no good. I don't like where it's going.
So anyhow, you're born from Texas. You meet your wife in school. What school did you guys go
to? We both went to University of Texas in Austin. She was one of Bush Senior's 1,000 Points of Light scholarships for future leadership endeavors. I don't remember. It's Flex program, FLEX. I don't remember exactly what it stands for.
I'm sure Bush doesn't either.
This is his senior, the CIA director.
Oh, okay.
Then he probably doesn't remember either for different reasons.
They basically took the smartest students from each of the major universities and sent them to the U.S., figuring they would be the leaders of the future, and spend some money, giving them a year in the U.S., learning English. Everything's paid for. They all had a good time. So
let me ask you, a lot of times when this happens, you have 2 people from a different country. They a lot of times will choose the richer country to live in, or say the sunnier climate, the better climate, or something like that. How did you guys say, let's choose cold Ukraine?
Well, see, Texas has only 2 seasons, hot and not so hot. Ukraine actually has 4 distinct seasons. I think we have the same weather about as New York. I think we're a little farther north than New York, but
so it's like Boston weather.
I've never been to Boston, but it's ridiculously hot in Texas, 100, 110 degrees in the summer, and it might freeze twice a year. And my wife just didn't like Texas, and I didn't really want to move anywhere else in the U.S., so I said, I'll just move to Ukraine, see how it works out.
How long have you guys been there?
We were here from 96 to 03 for 7 years, and now I'm going on my 4th year back. So a total of 11 years.
Did you come back in between, or what did you guys do in between?
Yeah, from 03 to 06, I was in South Texas getting my master's degree.
Oh.
All right, so
so we brought you on for a reason, obviously. So why don't we talk about what you've been working on? Inform all the fans.
All right. Well, I came back over here in 07 to do investment banking and did that for 2 years until the crisis pretty much stopped everything in Ukraine. And I started looking for entertainment in English and found this Brink of Sanity show podcast.
Where'd you find it?
One of the shows. Do what?
Where'd you find it?
I just went on to Google, and I had been listening to Dan Savage. I think y'all referenced him 2 shows ago about Santorum having his name linked on Google.
Yeah.
He's the guy that started that. And I've been reading his column for 15 years from The Stranger. And he started his podcast. And once I went through all of his shows, he also only does one a week. I started looking for other stuff, and I listened to like some NPR podcast, and it was garbage. And I listened to CFO podcast. It was only like 6 minutes long. It was ridiculous. And so then I was like, well, okay, I'll just look for funny stuff. And I found Podcast Alley, and Brink of Sanity at the time was number one. So I just downloaded it there and listened to every show that's, on the site so far, all 140.
Wow, you're a trooper.
Yeah. That's more episodes than either of us have listened to.
Yeah.
And it's a funny story, kind of, for me at least. I actually really enjoyed the show because, y'all say funny shit, but as a bonus for me personally, Bry sounds exactly like my first son's godfather. He's from Philadelphia. And I can just picture my son's godfather saying all this stuff, and it's just totally out of character. So I get an extra, bonus every time Bry's a co-host.
Nice.
So you're saying you want less Mark, more Bry?
No, because you actually sound like a former coworker of mine named Mark.
Nice.
Also, and I had to look you up and make sure your last names weren't the same because I thought somebody was trying to punk me or something. That, two people I knew were.
Your life is like the Truman Show. I just have co-hosts that are somehow related to your life.
Yeah, either that or Forrest Gump, some crazy stuff.
It might be weird, but we have your mom on the show coming up in a little bit.
I wouldn't be surprised. I was voted most likely to be abducted by aliens. If something strange is going to happen, it's going to happen to me. So,
fair point. Fair. Okay, you found the show.
Okay, so I don't remember which show. I probably should have looked it up. But around the middle of 2009, there was a show where y'all had, I think, 3 or 4 guest hosts on at the same time, and someone was making a joke about a website called a website where you could go and just get drunk with people. And someone said, and their exact words were, if there was a website called idrinkwithinternetpeoples.com, I would go to it. And I thought that would be an awesome site to go to. And at the time, we had started a IT company here that was going to be outsourcing software development to Ukraine. So I showed it to our IT guys, and they came up with a budget first they told me it would be possible. I said, I want to make a site where you can see like 10 people live video stream at a time and do drinking games and, play poker with them, play asshole bullshit, buzzword bingo, whatever the hell you want to do, just these drinking games. And they said, yeah, we can do that. And so I wrote Jay and told him, it was your idea, your intellectual property. If you give us permission, I want to make a business plan and try to shop it around to people that I knew in the investment community that looked into IT projects.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You're in the Ukraine. You heard this show on a podcast that probably isn't getting millions of downloads an episode, hundreds of thousands, not millions.
Yeah, we're just on
So probably basically there's a good chance we'd never have known if you stole their idea. What made you not steal the idea instead of actually trying to actually give us credit?
I'm American, not Eastern European, I guess.
Okay.
I take risks, but there's unnecessary risks, and I'm thinking, as an investment banker, if I'm just taking an idea and trying to sell it, I'm not going to do any of the actual work. I will be very lucky to get 2-3% of a buyout if a deal comes through. So let's say the project ended up being, I think, $850,000 in startup was all it would have needed. Okay. If someone would have bought that idea from us, they would have paid us $50,000-$60,000 if we sold it outright, maybe less than that if we retained ownership, which I wanted to do. So we probably would have only got $30,000-$40,000, and I figured if I could cut Jay a check for 10% of that, he'd probably be happy just for the idea. And then if we retain ownership and it goes where it wants to, I was thinking we would have, the next generation Facebook.
Right. Yeah.
I think if you create the next generation Facebook off of Jay's idea, he'd be your sex slave.
I think it's really cool that you actually tried to make it happen, and seems like you actually. I mean, you got pretty close.
So yeah, so you present the idea, you go through this, take us through the whole story.
Yeah, and so once I knew we wouldn't have any problems with any intellectual property from Brink of Sandy's side, I didn't want to write a bunch of contracts and have Jay signing stuff because I just don't like to. I don't like to go through all the expense of notarials and all that garbage if nothing's going to happen. So I got a guy that I work with here. He's Ukrainian, but he's got 3 degrees from the U.S. in business. He did a bunch of market research, gave me the stuff. I got the IT guys to come up with a plan, like a cost structure where we could rent servers and they would be scalable so that as traffic increased, we would have extra bandwidth allocated, and it was automatic. We didn't have to apply for it. They would just charge us for it. And we went with sort of a Western cost structure and a very conservative Russian advertising revenue structure. And it was a good project. It had a payback period of less than 3 years on $800,000. And if we got the numbers that we expected, it would have been, I think it would have been awesome. I would be on there right now. Y'all would be streaming the show from there right now, not on Ustream, not on Facebook. It just didn't pan out. We sent the teaser out to several people. We had 2 people, one in Ukraine and one in Spain, that asked, to have a more developed proposal. So we made one and sent it out with a full cash flow analysis and synopsis of what it was going to be. And we really couldn't get anyone in Europe to take a look at it. So I started looking through venture capitalist firms in the U.S., mostly on the West Coast. And when I got involved with them and started having more research done on what the program would do, because basically we wanted to be able to see 10 people at a time plus yourself, so 11 live video streams on your screen, and to have some kind of interaction on top of that where you can send people private messages, you can chat in text, you can play card games, you can play drinking games, that type of thing. But if you're going to have this ability to video conference such a large number of people at one time, there was going to be this parallel function of business-to-business conference calling or telemedicine, where you could have one doctor expand his, single physician practice to several. And after we started doing research, we realized, there's Beach Out. They're already sort of doing video social networking. Pal Talk already had 10-to-1 video conferencing. And me and Jay talked about this back in March or April, that we didn't think it was going to be able to go anywhere. But since then, Skype has even come out with a 10-to-1 video conferencing. You have to be like a premium member. There is this sort of place in the market for that software, but if it wasn't going to be brand new and it wasn't going to be our intellectual property, and there was no parallel use for it, in the end, all we were doing was trying to create a new social networking site. And pretty much nobody wants to go up against Facebook now. I'm hoping that's going to change, because Facebook has started actually declining in numbers. They lost 1% over the last month or so. And if people are starting to look for something new, maybe some of these, investors we sent the proposals to will look at it and say, people are looking for something new. Let's give this a shot.
I still think it's a fun as hell idea for a site. I mean, if there was a site like that, you're right. We would be doing the show through that right now. I think. I don't know.
Well, I think the one thing I think is Facebook. I don't think the way MySpace got crushed by Facebook. I don't see Facebook getting crushed anytime soon by another big site. but I could see a lot of like niche sites catching on. And even Facebook itself was a niche site initially because like MySpace was the top site like 2006, 2008, and then but Facebook like had all the colleges and then built up from there. Maybe we get all the drunks.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, 1% of Facebook would be more than enough people on the site. That's like, what, a couple 100,000 at this point.
Well, we had a demographic of males age 21 to 60 and females age 21 to 40. And I think the research was something that either 30 or 40% of the people in that age group will consume alcohol at least once a week in a public setting. Mm-hmm. And that a third of those people would be willing to try it online at least once a month. So it's, there's a lot of people in the world who would be willing. I've done it myself through Skype, done a shot for someone's birthday when I'm on vacation in the U.S. and they call me because they see me on Skype. Mm-hmm. And I've got to go, buy vodka just so I can toast them, on their birthday while I'm in Texas. So to me, it's already not strange.
So what back was the multiple video conferencing is already out there. And so being that it would just be a drinking site or another social network site, no one want to invest in that. Is that basically?
Pretty much. And the truth is a lot of the people we were asking were Middle Eastern investors. And I think a lot of them were not comfortable promoting alcohol consumption, even,
You should have said to them, okay. What if we add the alcohol consumption? People can buy prostitutes over online. Will that be like will whores and alcohol make it more? Okay, no, sorry.
No, I saw one response from a guy. He said, "This is the way the future will be, and to me, it's scary." We're going to pass on this one. I mean, they were literally afraid to go there.
But like, if that's where the future is going to be, that's where you want to be. You want to beat everybody.
Yeah, you want to be there now. But I don't have the numbers on Apple, but I think Apple has had a resurgence in the last year, not just because of their products alone, but because of like popular hating on Microsoft. And it was the same way with Facebook when MySpace got bought by Fox News. 40% of the people who used it were Democrats and were just like, we're not giving them money through looking at their advertising, and they just left. So I don't know what's coming up that's going to make Facebook, sort of not the social networking site anymore. But, they've screwed up a couple times on privacy issues recently. And I think if something came out for a college crowd, it could get popular real quick. And being able to sit at your laptop and play drinking games, without having to get out and deal with a crowd or deal with, getting a taxi or whatever, I would have used it back in college. I would use it right now.
I guess it's the answer to drunk driving. Like, we get rid of drunk driving if you drink online.
Right. And people don't realize that MySpace was the site, and it died in like a span of 2 years. It was quick. Like, you don't see it coming.
My theory, actually, I was reading an article that how like they're trying to sell it now. I guess they paid $500 million. They accept $100 million to sell it, but they might just shut it down entirely if they don't get any offers. And my theory is why it failed was because I don't know how it took. I guess it caught an audience that Friendster couldn't catch on to, mm-hmm. and it became really big. But the thing about MySpace versus Facebook, if you just go use one or the other, Facebook is just much simpler. MySpace always had everyone had set up all these elaborate things on their websites, and it took a while to load. Everyone had these annoying. Basically, it was 500 million people with the most annoying websites possible on there.
Yeah.
And so it's just you need something simpler. And the second thing that made Facebook catch on was because you started as a niche crowd. You could only join if you're part of the college. So now it was
you had to have the .edu email address.
Yeah, it was like that South Park episode where Cartman buys an amusement park and won't let anybody in, and then everyone really wants to go there. It was, it's more like the exclusivity of it was the appeal at first.
Like that's the bars in New York City. They have this like all those lounges in New York City where like they have like a big line. You wait in line if you're an idiot, and you finally get in like an hour later, which I've done. And you get in there, and it's like, oh, there's not so many people in here. Why did they make us wait an hour?
Yeah, they just want to have a line out front.
Yeah.
Also, you don't get a lot of spam friend requests on Facebook. Like MySpace, I logged in for the first time in months the other day. And within 10 minutes, I had like 14 requests. Obviously, all from like, porn stars and like just junk.
Well, they've got two social networking sites over here. People are starting to use Facebook because I guess it picked up a Russian interface. But they have Odnoklassniki, which is like classmates. And that thing, you can see who viewed your page and what they looked at. And to me, that's just kind of creepy.
That's what Friendster had, right?
Yeah. Were you on Friendster back in the day?
No, I never was.
Do you know what Friendster is?
Yeah, I know what it is.
Okay. So for everyone that's too young, Friendster was the precursor to MySpace and Facebook. Same thing, basically. And one day, they changed the policy and let you view like whoever viewed you. And it was a big thing because we were like, oh, shit, everyone I've been stalking is going to know about it. And then they had to switch back, but it was weird for a couple days.
Well, the second one they have is called Kontakt, which like means in contact with someone. And that one, you used to be able to sign up just with an email address, but they've changed it now to where you have to give them a cell phone number that they can send a text message to, and then you have to log in with the code they give you in that text message. They want to verify that it's a separate person. I guess you can only have as many accounts as you have cell phones. Mm-hmm. But you're only allowed to invite 2 people to the network at all, ever. And you have to do it by giving their cell phone number and your email address, and it sends a text message and says that person can log on with any email address and this password. And I think that's the way it's going to go. A lot of states, I think even in the U.S., are saying you cannot have anonymous internet, like forums and stuff like that. Everything has to be linked to a physical address or phone number, something they can trace.
Mm-hmm. For that site, what if you're like, my friend Jay needs to sign up, and Jay rejects it? Can I give my invite to someone else, or do I have to keep harassing Jay to get him on?
Yeah, what if Jay? Yeah, if I was a dick and like you used 50% of your invites.
You can probably do it like the apps and Facebook or whatever. Just remove your. I hadn't thought about it.
I'd be like, Jay, we talked about it at the bar last night. You were like totally fine with it before you threw up in the bathroom.
What am I going to tell Billy? He can't get on now.
If I was, if I had the funding and maybe some extra funding, I would have set up something where anyone can sign up for an account, but you can't go into an adult room unless you have a USB key. Like you register, you tell us a physical address, we can mail you a USB key. Or maybe you can download a program once you verify yourself as an adult and load it onto your system or onto your USB key so that you know that person's an adult. And if you're drinking with them and they're getting crazy and pulling their shirt off or flipping you off or maybe I guess there's some places that have like beer delivery, ordering you drinks. If you're, I'm in Texas, you're in New York, it's your birthday, I have a 6-pack delivered to your house, and say, log in, you asshole, we're going to drink tonight.
Would the adult verifier thing prevent me from going into rooms with kids?
It would prevent, that was the concern. I mean, crazy shit happens everywhere. People want to play poker. They might want to play strip poker. You don't need 18-year-olds. 18-year-old would be fine, but, you get 14, 15-year-olds on there, and it's just a fucking headache.
Well, I can see so for this drinking site, that the idea is you can't just go on there and just hang out and drink with people. The idea, you go on the site only for drinking games. Or maybe that would
I was thinking you could do... let's say a comedian wants to do a stand-up act. From what I understand, in like New York, you got to stand outside with flyers and be like a barker. Mm-hmm. Well, you could get online and say, I'm going to do a stand-up at 9 o'clock. If everybody PayPals me 25 cents, as soon as I get 30 people who pay me, I'll do a half hour or whatever. Anything like that. If you get a headliner, someone who's really famous, like, what's her name? Lady Gaga released her CD for 99 cents. If you have somebody who's a headliner, I don't even know who's big in the U.S. now. I've been gone so long.
It's still Lady Gaga.
No, I mean comedian-wise. Oh. You could do live music if you wanted to, but
Jerry Seinfeld.
Okay, say Jerry Seinfeld. He wanted to buy a condo in France, so he's going to do a half hour and make the money. He could just say, hey, I'm going to be on 24hourhappyhour.com. Send in $1. I'm going live at 8:30. If you don't pay with it by 8:35, you can't get in at all.
I was going to say, for your original idea, I guess when you were originally saying it, you were saying that it was like a 10-person chat. And for most comedians in New York City, getting 10 people to watch their show would be like pretty awesome.
Yeah, I went to a comedy show where there was, I think, 5 comedians and 4 people in the crowd. And it was actually like really, they were really good too. It's kind of depressing.
I've actually done some stand up like open mic nights, and open mic nights are only if other people doing open mic with you. It's only other people that are trying to like jump up there also. So everyone's concerned about not laughing at your jokes because they want to do their jokes later on.
Yeah, it's with electronic media, digital storage. I think the future of entertainment for music, at least, probably stand-up comedy too, is going to be your performance. You're not going to. You may sell 1 million or 2 million copies of your album, but you're only going to get 50 cents an album in profit for that.
Do you think
where are you going to make your money? You have to put on a show, merchandising, sell your shirts at the store. Mark your at the show. Sorry. So.
Do you think the future of, say, also like pornography is online?
No, I think it's going to come to you're going to have some kind of bodysuit you put on, and you're going to it's just going to squeeze you whatever the action's going on the screen.
Wasn't there a movie like that?
I still love you. I just want to put my suit on and be alone. So basically, I think the site's a really good idea. I'm surprised actually you couldn't get it off the ground because it seems like it seems like I always think the one big issue you have with the verification idea, just like especially like in the U.S., they wouldn't want someone who's 20 years old or 19 years old or 17 years old on the site for drinking, which eliminates a big part of your crowd.
Yeah, but like I said, the protest wasn't so much. Who would be using the site? It was more what the atmosphere of the site would be, and I think if we would have had in the end a really strong case for a proprietary software with 3 uses instead of just one, we would have been a lot better off. Mm-hmm. But until Anheuser-Busch decides they've got an extra $1 million laying around and want to advertise on a new website. We're not moving on it, unfortunately.
That's a shame.
So, Anheuser, if you guys are listening, $1 million, please.
Or I guess if we have any millionaire listeners, we need about 820,000.
Yep, you can be the majority owner of the next Facebook, and we'll drink with you every day.
We'll do it for 810 if you're the next caller.
I'll throw in 10,000 of my own. So.
I have about $600. I'll throw that in.
I'll match Jay's offer, not your offer. So I guess it's we appreciate the story at least about it. It's really a.
Well, I've been cringing every time I download a new episode just because I figured Jay was going to snap at some point and be like, "This bastard, taking my idea." Saying he's going to do something and not getting it done. And I think it got mentioned one time by somebody. I don't know who Jay told, but I thought it was going to come up in one show, and Jay said, no, we're not going to talk about that yet.
That was me, so. Yeah. You know what's kind of funny about the whole idea? Like, it's this whole conversation. You're like, "Hey Jay, this is Ben. You don't know me. Oh, okay. Anyhow, I've listened to your show. I'm a huge fan. You had an idea on an episode. I think that idea would be $1 million idea. I think we can actually, we tried it last year, turn into $1 million idea. Oh, really? How's it doing? We made nothing, and you actually get nothing. But I just want to tell you that you almost became a millionaire, but not. You didn't, though.
Well, the first time I talked to Jay, I had heard the episode it was on, but he had already recorded some more episodes. And apparently in the last episode, somebody had said something about like shooting hobos or something, a new reality game show where people would be hunting the homeless. And he thought that was the idea I wanted to turn him into a millionaire with.
Yeah, so I was a little wary of you at first.
Jay's like, you caught me. I'm actually killing a hobo right now.
It's tied up in my basement.
I do have another website idea, but I'm not sure. It might piss people off.
I was going to say, if we keep throwing out ideas, could you turn one of them into a lot of money and cut us in?
Yeah, we could do like our website of the week, and you could see which one takes.
If you want to produce reality shows, we actually were making a top 5 list of our different reality show ideas for this episode.
Yeah, I made a list of 5 here.
Awesome.
Jay told me y'all would be discussing that, so I came up with a couple.
Do you guys want to start the reality show thing?
Yeah, why don't we take a quick break, and then the break always comes when Jay runs out of rum, by the way. That's just the way the show goes. Also, the batteries on my mouse just died, so I kind of need that. So take like a 2-minute break, and then we'll come back with we're going to do our top 5 reality show ideas, a.k.a. shows that if they were actually made, we would watch every single episode. Sound good to you guys?
Sounds good.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. We'll be right back.
I need a garage door opener for my balls.
What?
What the fuck? I don't like the smell that usually forms down there if I go for a couple days without washing.
I'm proud of you.
It smells like onions wrapped in asshole. What the fuck are we talking about?
Hey, Dad, remember that one time I got that cock stuck in my ass?
He just went over legs and arms. In a truck not too hard to locate, featuring painted images of a peeled banana, the exposed part shaped like a condom, and a shirtless man saying, "I protect myself." To you.
What kind of fucking question is this? I'm the host of the show, and I get put down on every episode.
I love you, Tim.
John is a man of God.
Shed his precious blood.
Shed his precious blood.
And died.
And died.
Oh, my sin. And now the 3 guys that taught your mom that thing you like. It's Minor Detail.
MinorDetailPodcast.com.
Let's cut to the chase. I'm DJ, and I do a little something called the Green Light Show. Now, I want you to be a fan of the show, so I'm making you listen to this sample. And these girls, they think, oh, as long as I show off my tits, I'm fat. I'll wear this skin-tight shirt and show off all my tits.
Yeah, I see
That'll look real good.
I see that a lot, actually, and it's rather disgusting.
And I've heard these girls, they'll say stuff like, well, you're looking.
Yeah, because I want to throw up.
Yeah, just because I'm looking at your enormous exposed tits, that doesn't mean I like them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like driving by a car wreck, if I were to see a 6-year-old boy's head smashed and run over by an SUV, just because I can't look away, that doesn't mean I like the way it looks. I went to go see Toy Story 3.
My bad.
I don't mean to spoil the movie for anybody, but Andy dies.
Does he get AIDS?
Andy gets AIDS in Toy Story 3 from a gay orgy. He got drunk. He went up to
at college.
The plot of this is, it shows Andy leaving his parents in the beginning, his mom's house.
Yeah, his single mom.
Where the fuck is Andy's dad?
His mom's a single mom.
So the opening scene is just Andy going, "I'm out of here, Mom, fuck off!" And Andy drives off to his college.
smoking weed.
Andy gets to college, and the first thing, he opens the door to his new apartment. And his roommates, who he's never met, are in there. They go, hey, Andy, rub this on your tongue. Andy starts fucking all these dudes. It's a big, giant orgy.
Wow.
It's like gays and lesbos and normals, and they're all just intertwined fucking.
That's weird.
And then Woody shows up, but it's not Woody. It's Andy's dick with a cowboy hat on it. And he goes, check out my Woody! If you like what you hear, head on over to greenlightshow.com. You can find out everything about the show right from the homepage. greenlightshow.com. See you there.
Yeah, I don't know why we don't use metric. We're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
It's like we go out of our way to piss other countries off.
Yeah, you're like, yeah, if you want to come do stuff in the U.S., you're going to have to translate your number system. I'm sorry, what? Yeah, we don't use your number system here.
I know it's all by tens, so it's really easy, but we decided to go a different route.
Yeah, we just have vague random reasons for our number system. Oh, but ours is pretty common, too. We do it, and I think some small country, maybe in Africa, does it also. Yeah, so it's catching on. You guys should try our system instead.
Yeah, I'm quickly becoming Europeanized, I guess, in that I'm starting to say speeds and temperatures in Celsius and kilometers an hour instead of miles and Fahrenheit.
It's more logical when you try to do the conversions. In the United States, when you try to do the conversions, you just say, fuck, I have no idea. So we have a top 10 list, or top 5 list, sorry, each of us have done.
We do.
Yep.
We have a couple of... let's do the top 10. That's fine.
What were you going to say?
Well, just a couple... I wanted to announce your new website.
Yes, I have a new website, which is getting more hits than any of our other websites.
Yeah, it's only been up, 8 days?
It is now up for 8 days. The blog hits total, the blog stat, I have 1,432 hits as of 1 week.
Not bad with, absolutely no promotion.
The only promotion I've done is I've put it on Facebook a couple times and stuff. And I think it's mostly... So it's called newdaddyhood.wordpress.com. New Daddy Hood. Not hard to spell. .wordpress.com. You can find the link on our website. And it is just me telling the story of what it's like to become a new father. I'm throwing in my random thoughts as I approach fatherhood, and want to keep it going once the kid is here. And the real goal of the site is just to basically have something my wife and I can look back on for years. It'd be kind of fun to look back at our thoughts at this time, and something I can share with my son, when he gets old enough to actually appreciate my weird sense of humor.
Now, I want to ask you a question, Mark.
Sure.
And I hope you'll be honest. I'll be honest.
Sure.
When your wife told you she was pregnant the first time, was your first thought, run?
My first thought is, I haven't been in the country for the last 3 months. How is that possible?
Breaking out the calculator, trying to figure it out.
I don't get it. No, we had been planning planning it. So it was more like, okay, it worked.
I'm not sterile.
I had a severe fight or flight response. As soon as my wife told me, I was like, run. And then I was like, wait a second, I've been married 4 years. It's okay.
You're looking for emergency exits and fire escapes.
I don't know. That's just been my thoughts lately. I'm like, it probably would be a good time to leave now.
I think it's just one of those evolutionary things. Your seed's planted, you can move on, and it's just sort of this.
It is it's the weird. It's just so weird about the whole I'm and I've writing this on my blog. I have no idea how to care for anything, including myself, and now I'm going to have this person who's completely helpless that's relying on me. More relying on my wife, because my wife's probably going to figure everything out and teach me. But
you'll look at your parents completely differently. I used to think my parents knew everything, and now I'm like, I don't know what the hell's going on here. How the hell did you do it?
It's how am I still alive?
My sister has an 18-month-old. She sounds like a Nobel laureate when she talks about raising a kid. She knows everything. But I've also realized the reason she knows everything is the last 18 months, 24/7, give or take, going to work at times, she's been just raising a kid. So you tend to just learn everything fast. So I'm hoping through the process of just doing it a lot, we'll learn a lot.
Well,
trial and less error. Hopefully.
If it's your first kid, you'll be double team on the kid. It's
That's
fine.
the first
if
kid.
you have a second one, it's man to man. You're still okay. If you go to 3, you have to go to a zone defense, and shit gets by you. It comes a little tougher. So.
I don't like using the phrase double team or man on man with my kids, but I get what you're saying. I'll do the
defense.
Yeah. How old's your oldest?
10, 8, and 6.
Oh, geez.
Wow. You're quite a veteran.
So they just got a permanent power play going on you guys right now.
Pretty much. But I can also tell you that if you think your life is hard with one kid, it will look completely easy if you have 2. You know, the more kids you have, the more you look back and say, wow, we had it so easy. And
yeah, I heard it's exponential. It's not like, you know, oh, it's just 2 of them. It's a million times harder.
Yeah, it gets pretty bad. And we were fine after 2, and my wife went to go get birth control, and they said, well, before we can put you on birth control, we got to give you a pregnancy test. And sure enough, she was pregnant. I was like super surprised. It's like, well, not this year, honey. You got to wait till next year to get on the pill.
It's like, let's go bungee jumping.
You're like, I should have given my sperm GPS.
Okay, so we got the site out of the way. Mark is now officially the most frequent guest host on The Brink of Sanity.
Yes.
How about that? I don't know what that means, but just figured I'd announce that.
How many shows am I being bribed by?
1. You have been on 40. This is your 41st episode, and Bry's been on 40.
I'm still being Bry on the Nick site also.
Yeah, you are. I auditioned for Who Wants to Be a Millionaire yesterday.
How'd that go?
I am not going to be a millionaire.
I'm shocked. So in the span of 2 days, you found out that you're not going to be a millionaire twice.
Yeah.
Between Ben's call and the show.
Yeah, rough weekends.
You should have bought a lottery ticket just for like the threesome. Like the.
I did. So tomorrow I'll find out for the 3rd day in a row that I'm not a millionaire.
You just declare a $2 million loss next year on your income taxes. You'll be fine.
I guess it wouldn't be a bad year if every day of the year you found out you weren't a millionaire for a different reason.
Yeah, I mean, you get used to it by like the 4th day, I would think. I think I'm used to it now. It's only been 2 days.
Month 3, Jay, your idea to build that amusement park. I don't know why you invested all your money. You're not a millionaire for that one either.
I have another website idea. We could try and fail that one.
What's your website idea?
It's called Rate Your Neighbor. And basically, if you're looking for an apartment, everyone goes on and like rates, like you say, like I guess you couldn't put actual apartment numbers because you could breach your privacy or whatever. But like say I live in this building and I'm on like the 1st floor. FYI, there's a baby next door that cries all the time, or there's people upstairs that have loud sex 3 times a day. And so when you're looking for an apartment, you could search the address, and you could see if you have annoying neighbors. Because you could look at an apartment when you're buying it, and it could be a really nice apartment, but then you don't know about the loud Spanish music playing every day. So it's kind of like an extra research tool for renting or buying an apartment.
You would be solely responsible for the next housing market collapse in the U.S.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. I guess there's no ideal place, but
a similar idea would be like you say where you live, and they put up pictures on the site, and you have to figure out which one of them is actually your neighbor.
Well, that's what I mean. I don't know the legal things with that. It would probably get people in trouble, but I would really appreciate that site next time I move.
I had a friend came up with the idea along the line of like basically your site is involving the information about annoying neighbors and judging people. And so along the idea of judging people, she had like the anti-Facebook. It was the idea of like hateme.com or something like that, where basically people go on there and talk trash about people. And you'd go on there just to find out what people think about you.
Well, that's just mean.
I think that's part of LinkedIn now, isn't it? It started out as honestly.com, and now it's a subdomain of LinkedIn where you can give like anonymous, accurate, like reviews of people's job performance and social skills.
That's awesome. I know an intern that got fired, and it like still says he works there, and he says he has a position higher than mine.
So you'd go on there and go like, we were like, Joe got fired from the job. He doesn't really hold that position anymore. He got fired. We for a while we didn't want to fire him because we felt like we were violating like some handicap laws. We thought he was retarded.
Yeah. P.S. This was like 3 years ago, and he's still using it.
So tell us about going on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
Well, it's very, very short. The entire process. It's like from the time you get there to the time you leave is maybe 20 minutes. And the whole thing is a 10-minute test. You have 30 questions to answer in 10 minutes. So it's pretty quick. 20 seconds a question. You don't really have time to mull them over.
Are these are solely the questions you see on the show?
I think, what do they ask you?
I think so. Like, am I even allowed to say them? I guess.
What, they'll call you up and go, now you're not really not going to be a millionaire?
There were questions that were similar to, but not exactly. Wink. Who was like the guy who grabbed the microphone from Taylor Swift?
Okay.
Kanye West.
Bet you nailed that one.
Yeah, I got that one. Who had twins at the age of 42? And it was like, the choices were like Vanessa Williams, Elizabeth Hurley, Celine Dion, and I don't remember the fourth one. I did not get that one right.
So it was all like waste of life knowledge?
No, there was some real stuff like who.
Everything you know about
what? Are you serious? This ad is just going to come on every 15 minutes? You know what, everyone?
Every half hour it refreshes itself.
Okay,
the ad.
So everyone, don't go on the Facebook group ever, and just go to Ustream. I'm so angry. Anyway, no, there was some like. This lady was nicknamed like Baby Lindbergh because she did something similar to Charles Lindbergh or something. It was Amelia Earhart. The one I got stumped on was what game is considered a draw after 42 turns?
Oh, War.
No.
Okay.
After 42 turns?
Yeah.
Chess.
No, I thought it was chess, but that wasn't even an answer.
Checkers?
Checkers wasn't an option. What was an option?
Do you know the answer?
It was Jenga, Connect 4, Battleship, and I don't remember the fourth one.
I don't know how Jenga would go 42 turns.
Well, I guess if you have like 1, 1, 1, 1 all the way up to the top, I don't know how many Jenga pieces there are, but I feel like there's more than 42.
I guess you already Googled this and haven't figured it out.
I haven't, but I found out that a Connect 4 board is 6 by 7, which is 42 spots.
Oh, so it must be Connect 4.
Yeah, and obviously, if nobody won after every spot's filled, you know. So I think it's Connect 4. But see, yeah, there's like tricky ones in there.
I have a strategy in Connect 4. Mm-hmm. It's called the Ultimate Asshole Strategy. All you do is, wherever your opponent goes, you put your piece on top of theirs. And you keep doing it without thinking, and like 9 times out of 10, unless someone's like really good, you beat them, and you look like a complete asshole doing it. My wife and I will play it, and most people will be nice to their wife, but I just be a complete asshole about it and be like, come on, we're gonna go next, and like keep throwing it down right when she throws her piece down. And needless to say, she won't play Connect 4 with me anymore. But it's a great strategy. It's really fun if you want to be a dick.
Are you pricking other games such as Monopoly or?
No, actually, it's just Connect 4. Other games I'm not, but throughout playing Connect 4, I keep telling my wife to bring the pain.
Interesting.
And I actually, our first date, we played Connect 4. We went to a bar that had like board games, and I wasn't a dick at that time, but since then I have been. But when I proposed to my wife, I hid the ring in a Connect 4 box.
Did you?
Yeah. So even like the odd thing at the game I'm a dick at, is our game, quote unquote, for a couple.
What, did you have it in there for like a year and she would never play you? And you're like, I really think you should play once more.
We went away to like a bed and breakfast out in Whereversville, and like we were, and like I was like, oh, like if it's bad weather, we'll play board games. She's like, why are you bringing a board game? I'm like, it might be bad weather, and so I got like after lunch, I was like, oh, let's play the board game. She's like, you're weird, and like eventually she opened it and saw the ring.
Nice. So you guys want to do
the... I actually met the kid who was on the cover of the Connect 4 game. He was a Marine security guard here in Ukraine for a while. His name's Dino.
I gotta say, what's the chances that all three of us have stories about Connect 4? Go on.
He's a crazy guy. I don't know if it's same thing with child models as child actors, but he was a drinker and a partier.
Is he really a child actor or is more of a child?
No, he was a child like commercial model.
Oh.
Like there's Connect 4 game boxes. Some of them are like rectangular, but this is the one from like the early 80s that's square with the blue.
Yeah.
And it's got the two kids on the front. There's a boy and a girl.
For those of you single people out there, picking a random thing like that to have your friend tell the ladies will work because there's really no way you can prove or disprove that. Well, when I was single, I was at a bar and I went into the bathroom and I came out and my buddy's sitting at a booth with these girls and they're like smiling at me and I'm like, what is going on? And he told them that I was Ben Seaver from Growing Pains. Nobody knows what the hell he looks like. I didn't know. I just thought I had my mojo going that day. And he told me afterwards that he said, don't bring it up because he's like really, self-conscious about it because he doesn't want people to like him just because he was on that show. So it was the perfect out because they didn't ask me about it. It was pretty interesting. So I guess you could do shit like that.
Did it work?
I mean, they were flirty the whole night. I have no game, so I screwed it up at some point. But,
So Ben Seaver doesn't even come home with a girl.
Well, Ben Seaver could have if Ben Seaver didn't have, like, 8 rum and cokes and, like, stumble home. But
I'm guessing Ben Seaver in real life is not, like, shy at all about, like, no, that was me. I was in the show. You want to hear my catchphrase from the show? Oh, I didn't have a catchphrase? Just come home with me. We'll watch old Growing Pains while I do from behind.
At least I'm not a crazy religious fanatic.
Did he ever tell you why he chose Ben Seaver?
He said he thought that I kind of looked like him. Because at the time, he was rocking a goatee, and so was I. And, like, I guess he saw him on some, like, reality show or something and thought it looked kind of like me.
I guess it would be tougher if he was like, yeah, he used to play Webster.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that was interesting. Anyway, you guys want to do our top 5?
I had two just random, if we're going to talk about random things I wanted to rant about real quick before the top 5.
Okay.
Just two, not even like small things. So in New York, they're about to pass, or they're trying to pass gay marriage for like the third time in like 3 years, or second time in 2 years. And apparently it's like one vote short, and I don't know, whatever your views on gay marriage, I guess like there's people protesting on both sides. One group obviously trying to get gay marriage passed, and one suit trying to get to stop gay marriage from being passing. And right now it's the legislature, it's in the Senate has to approve it. The Senate approved it. It'll be law in New York that gay marriage is legal here, and they need one more senator. And so that's why the protest. And what I don't understand, like, people had to take off work to go to these protests. And I could see someone going to, like, their boss and going, can I get the day off? As you know, I've been together with my gay partner for years, and we really want to be married, and, like, this will be a big thing for us. Can I take the day off and go protest? And your boss being like, I can understand, take the day off. On the other hand, like, some guy going, like, hey, remember I don't like gay people? I want to protest that. Is that cool? Can I have the day off? How do you get the day off to protest this, something like this? You're like, oh, yeah. And, well, remember last week I took off to like, promote slavery? Well, it didn't work, but I'm going to, like, do the gay thing now.
And next week I'm going to take off to protest against women's rights.
Next week I'm actually, 2 weeks from now, I'm going to a pro-violence against women's rally. We're actually going to beat up the other rally.
And after that, we have the anti-handicap rally.
Yeah, last year's beating up people with AIDS rally didn't really work out too well. I guess I thought more people would be on my side.
It was too specific. We're just going to go to the punch everyone who looks different than me rally.
I mean, how do you even get the courage to ask your boss for the day off? You're like, I mean, like, maybe if you know his views, he's like, okay, he's not so for gay marriage, but you're like, hey, I want to actively protest to prevent people from having rights. Do you mind if I take off from the factory? Could you guys cover me?
Do you think they're smart enough to just say, I want to protest at the rally and just not say aside?
Yeah, I mean, that would be the... probably not. But
I wouldn't think they would be that smart.
It's the other direction over here. The director of the company will come out and tell everybody what they're going to be voting for and where they'll be protesting if they want to keep their job.
and sadly enough, that's probably not a joke.
No.
What is the view over there on like gay marriage or gays in general?
They're not as violent, I believe, as the Russians. Every time you have an anti-gay or anti-gay.
You know what's weird? You know it's not heading down like a good, like it's a good place for gay people to live when you're like, well, it's not as violent as some other places. If you use the word violent, you know it's still not a good place.
They've got gay clubs here, and I see guys at bus stops all the time in their pink shirts with their sandals and their spiked hair that I know they're not metrosexual. They're gay. Mm-hmm. And they don't get beat up here. I mean, it's hard to describe. I think the population is like 98%, Caucasian. The sort of xenophobes or nationalists or idiots, whatever you want to call them here, they go for the darker skinned people here just because they're easier to pick out of a crowd. I hear a lot more about like the Americans who are here playing on the basketball teams that are African American, getting pulled over by the cops all the time, junk like that. They're not really persecuting gay people, but there's not even a push here for gay marriage. Not that I've seen at all. They're still trying to do like equality for women in the workplace and stuff like that.
I don't get why people care at all. I really don't.
That's what the thing with like the gay marriage. Like I don't like. It's not like everyone knows you're not passing a law that says you have to get gay married. Like, what do you care what other people are doing? Like, why do you have to like be in everyone's business? Just like life sucks enough. Just like let people have their fun.
I don't understand it, but apparently people feel very strongly about what other people can and can't do.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to rant about, and this is short also, but like you've been in a situation where you said thank you to someone and they didn't say you're welcome.
Yeah.
Does that annoy you?
It does. I also get annoyed when I buy something and they just like stare at me and hand me the bag.
Okay, so I'm going to come out on a different side of this than you.
Okay.
I think like when people like get annoyed, like they'll say thank you. You don't say you're welcome right away. They'll be like, thank you again, and you're like, oh, I didn't say you're welcome. It's like, how big of a dick do you have to be? They're like, I want to show someone my appreciation for them, but I will be really pissed if they don't show their appreciation right back to me.
Well, I mean, if they don't, I'm not like, I said thank you. Like, I'm like, all right, and I move on. Like, I don't need like confirmation that bad. I'm not that. I don't know. Someone
holds a door. Like you hold someone a door for someone, and they're like, oh, thank you, and you don't say anything back, and they're like, I said thank you. You're like, okay, asshole, just show your appreciation for me, and then walk away. You don't have to. We don't need the full acknowledgement of you, that I got your thank you.
Yeah, you're instantly a big asshole if you do the follow up.
It's not as bad as the people who say you're welcome when you haven't even said thank you yet.
Oh God, I just want to punch those people in the face
so much. That's the best part also, because they've just done a nice act, and they're like so annoyed at you that you haven't recognized them for their nice act.
You know what else I don't like? I don't like, say, like, you accidentally bump into somebody, and they're just like, excuse me. Like, trying to turn it around, like, I don't know, give you guilt or something.
Yeah, they also say it in the way they're like, oh, this was actually my plan to, like, randomly bump into you and have this awkward moment with you. I understand you're trying to get around me. We just both made a mistake.
Right. Or it's like, the subway goes around a sharp turn at 100 miles an hour and your body shifts a little bit. And it's like, excuse me. It's like, well, your body moved too. You just didn't have anybody behind you, asshole.
Oh, I had in the subway the other day. Just speaking of that, I'm in a jam-packed car on the subway, like coming back from work, and someone behind, like I'm just like being shoved basically into this woman, and the woman's being shoved into the pole, and she like turns to me, she's like, you're pressing me against the pole, I can barely breathe, like it's my fault. I'm like, oh, because I'm just trying to like molest you here. I don't have like 30 people pressing me from behind. Have you missed that?
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing where you're stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, and the guy behind you is honking at you, even though there's 7 cars in front of you.
Yeah. Well, actually, when she said that to me, I just had my headphones on and turned away like I couldn't hear her.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We get the full body massage on the Metro here also. So
always a good time.
The cattle cars, I call them.
Since this show isn't as big as I want it to be, let's just change the show into subwaycarrants.com. Because I feel like I could come up with a new one every single day.
We have live entertainers. They get on for a stop, and they'll play accordion and saxophone
we got
and stuff.
that, yeah.
Not unique. We have it here.
We have, like, gypsy kids begging in iambic pentameter, like, just ridiculous stuff. They say these poems, think they're going to get more money. And we have people selling stuff, like calendars and beads and junk like that, too.
You ever see that movie Kids?
Yeah. I have no legs. I have no legs.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the same guy, but a guy with no legs was walking, was doing whatever he does up and down the subway. I don't know what you would call it.
Scooting, probably.
Yeah, he didn't have a scooter. He was kind of just, planting his hands down and then pushing his torso forward. It's kind of not great. And then, like, it was a crowded subway, and he would just, like, crawl up right behind you and then look up and stare at you like you're in my way. And it's like, it's kind of a crowded subway. I don't really know where to move here. This is pretty awkward with a legless guy just staring at you. Kind of glad I was by the door and not in that poor guy's position who got stared at for a half of a subway stop. Anyway, top 5.
So we've been talking about the top 5. Let's do the top 5. The top 5 might take a couple minutes. So we were doing top 5 reality shows we would like to see or produce.
Yes. It was hard because I love dating reality shows. Not like The Bachelor, like the crazier ones, like Shipmates, where you're stuck on a cruise with 3 days for a person, even if you hate them, and stuff like that. But a lot of those have been done already. But I did what I could. Anyway, who wants to go first?
Why don't we let our guest?
All right. This is the only one that may be Ukraine specific, but I would like to see a show called Motherhood Olympics. And in this show, women will compete. I see all the time women pushing their baby carriages out into traffic to get cars to stop.
Mm-hmm. I've seen that.
They have like this law here that once you put your foot down in a crosswalk, all traffic has to stop. So people do this, like, look the other way and just walk out and hope,
They have that law in Boston, and it's the same
trump
way.
the law of physics. I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And I see women stopping traffic with their baby carriages. I see people in, like, the circus especially. They pick up their kids, hold them to their chest, and use them as, like, battering rams to get out of the fucking building.
See, I thought you were going to go somewhere, like, I'm sure they have that there, like the jogging strollers. And I thought you were going to say, like, races with women with their jogging strollers. But this is...
No. I want to see, like, how much traffic can a woman stop with her stroller? How fast can you change your kid and get them out of a crowded circus? How long can you let your kids run around in the restaurant and scream while you have your dinner and let them bother everybody else? It's just ridiculous over here.
So, or like, we take you and your kid to the opera. While you're not looking, we feed your kid with laxatives. We see you deal.
Well, no, you have to do it to a bunch of kids and a bunch of moms at the same time and see who cleans it up fastest.
2-foot pixie sticks.
Can of baked beans, your kid, go.
I would definitely watch that.
That's a good show. I would totally watch that. So my first idea was, the best way to explain it is The Biggest Loser in reverse. We take 10 people who are all in good shape. The first episode, we test their body fat, take their weight, everything, maybe 5 girls, 5 guys. And over the course of, say, 10 weeks, whoever will destroy their body the most will win the $1 million.
And spend it all on health bills.
So whoever becomes the most unhealthy. And you'll see things where, like, someone will be like, yeah, I figured out how I can move the least amount each day. And I just hit the speed dial at McDonald's. They deliver it here. I left my door open. I unlock it so you can get in. I give them money. Or I have a charge account there, and so I just eat the McDonald's every day.
I love it.
I would love to see how far people would go to destroy their body. It's only like 10 weeks. Maybe you can make it 5 weeks, a short period of time. How much damage you could do to your body. And have like some woman who's like 110 pounds go to 170 and then not win the $1 million.
Oh, that's great. That's beautiful.
Oh, God. People eating breadsticks with peanut butter and taking shots of Everclear to slow their metabolism down. I could see it. Yeah,
people just fucking drinking fat like all day long, like coming close to killing themselves to win this money. I don't know how. I imagine a couple people would actually kill themselves in that time period.
Any show where people get hurt or die is a lot more entertaining.
Yeah, there was I don't know if you guys remember from a couple years back. There was a radio show where they had like. Do you remember the Nintendo Wii?
Yep.
Everyone remembers that. They had hold your Wii to win a Wii, and whoever can they drink a bunch of water. Whoever can hold their Wii, their piss until the longest would win the Wii, and the winner died. And so
she came in second place, didn't she?
Oh, she was second place?
She didn't even win. Yeah, she got a headache and left. She ended up having water poisoning or whatever it is.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Dry drowning, they call it. You drown out your electrolytes.
Yeah, the people there didn't realize that you could actually die doing that. But I think in my show, there's a silent waiver saying they don't care if they die.
It would still have to be The Biggest Loser, right?
It would be the opposite. I guess you'd go, it'd be the biggest. The winner would be The Biggest Loser. The best part is, everyone on the show gets to go on The Biggest Loser right afterwards. So you get 2 reality shows starring in one.
There was a show that was close to what I would want in a reality show until I found out it was staged. I don't know if you ever saw the Ted Nugent reality show.
That was staged?
Heard about it.
Yeah, you had to live at his ranch and just survive it. And one of the things was you had to run down this racetrack, and he would just chase you with his pickup truck. And one person he actually slammed into, and they ended up in the hospital. Apparently that was actually a stunt person, and it was staged for them to get hit, and that destroyed the whole show for me.
I saw part of one of the episodes, and I just thought it was it just seemed too ridiculous. I was like, this can't be real. It seemed kind of over. It was over the top, right?
It was, and if there was a show that was like that wasn't staged, I that would have been the best show ever.
Is this your first idea to do the real Ted Nugent show?
No, I just wanted to mention that if they could have a show where people just get really hurt, I would like that.
Okay, so what's your first one?
We sort of came up with this on another show, but I wanted to expand on it a little bit.
Sure.
It's like The Bachelor.
Are you going to say my idea?
Maybe. Well, we both kind of talked about it in the other episode.
What's your idea?
It's basically everyone on the show has something horribly wrong with them, except maybe 2 people. You have 2 normies in there, and you get a list of what's wrong with each person, but you don't know who has what. So you have the person with AIDS, the person with herpes, the person who is actually a woman. But you only find out what that person had after they get voted off. So if you keep track of the list, you can scratch it off. So at the end you're like, all right, I got it down to the normal person and the herpes person, and I don't know which is which. And I think that would make it a lot more exciting.
Okay, so I'm going to just cut in front of Ben for 1 second, just because I have almost the exact same idea. I thought that idea for a show would be kind of funny, but be a little bit crazy, over the top. I think a better idea would just be 1 guy, 10 girls, except 2 of the girls are pre-op men. and he's got to figure that out. And just that's all he knows. He doesn't know which one's the man, which is the woman. And when they get voted off, I guess they expose them. They pull down their pants and you find out if he got the man or not. Or maybe he doesn't do that. Maybe I'm not sure. Either way, I kind of go either way on that part. But it'd be great. Like he's trying to like figure out if it's a guy or a girl, and they're really good like trannies, like really good ones.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually watching just on a side note, there was a show. Do you ever watch True Life on MTV?
I was on it.
Tell your story in 1 second. It's basically a documentary show they do where they follow young people, and one of the episodes was like, I have something revealing to tell you, and it was like a tranny, basically a post-op tranny, telling how to tell her boyfriend that she was really a guy.
I saw that one, and it looked like a man with long hair.
It didn't look anything like a girl.
I don't know how that guy did not know.
It was like so obvious. The only way it would have been more obvious if he was jacking himself off the entire time.
Seriously. And even the voice, it was just like me if I went, yeah, I'm a girl, and I talk like this. Like, it wasn't even close. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think the other person had to tell their friends that she was black. And it was like...
And it was a black girl.
I don't understand what else it would be. It was basically like... I guess her friends thought she was Dominican, but like... I mean, I guess I would have believed if she had told me she was Dominican, but it wouldn't have been a huge stretch if she told me she was black instead, because she looked completely black.
I am so glad you saw that one. That was like the biggest waste of an episode. She's like, I'm black and nobody knows it. And then it's just like this black chick, and you're just like, really? That'll like be me having one where I'm like, hey, bro, I'm white.
Yeah. It was basically the only thing like less revealing would have been like a guy being like, hey guys, I know I've been hiding this. I'm actually a midget.
Yeah, guys, you might want to sit down for this
because it'll get me the eye level.
Yeah, this might be a little shocking. I told you I was 6 feet and 5'11" and a half.
Yeah, my wife watches a lot of terrible TV, but actually True Life, which is a terrible show, it's pretty addictive when you start watching it. You were on True Life?
Yeah, you haven't been?
Oh, I mean, I've been on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but not True Life.
Yeah, I entered a video game tournament, and apparently the guy they were following for True Life showed up to the tournament, and I had to play him in the first round.
Really?
Yeah, so if you see the I'm a Gamer episode, I actually play that guy, and you see me rocking out in a neon green Ninja Turtle shirt the whole time.
How long was this?
Maybe like 5 years ago.
Was it, like, really cool to be on the show, or really, like, embarrassing to tell people you were in a gaming contest?
A little of each. A little of A, a little of B. I had no idea they were filming. I was actually outside, like, waiting for it to start, and, like, the truck pulls up with the cameras, so you actually see me, like, leaning against the wall as they're walking in, and then while they're telling the rules of the tournament, you see me once or twice.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. What game was it?
Super Smash Brothers Melee. And... I'm really good at it, but he kicked my ass really bad. And then I'm like, well, how often do you play this? And he said 11 hours a day.
That would usually make him better than you.
Yeah, and I said, I play 5 a week, so I don't feel bad at all anymore. I'm going to go home to my actual life and not play Smash Brothers.
I don't know. Do you feel a little bad that you play it for 5 hours a week? That's still a lot.
Well, I was just out of college at the time, and
Do you feel bad that like they're like that guy beat your ass, and you're also too old for us to follow you with a camera?
Well, hold on. Let me say my second show because it goes right with it.
Oh, perfect.
Would be Warcraft Widows, where you have one camera following some guy or girl who is nothing but a gamer, completely ignoring their wife or husband. And then another camera on the other one going insane, going out dancing, trying to get attention the whole time, and see whether the gamer snaps out of it and treats their spouse right, or whether the spouse leaves them for somebody.
Awesome. So far, I think we can make an entire network of our shows.
Okay, so do your third idea. Do you do 2 in a row, Ben?
I do 2 in a row, okay. My third one would be Punk My Kid. Because
I'm not really your dad?
No. I mean just like play really horrible pranks on children. Nobody ever, goes after kids. They always go after their boss or their wife or whoever. But I'm thinking, like, when I was a kid, somebody in my family, I don't know who, let me watch this movie called The Hand with Michael Caine from like 1980 or 81, where he gets his hand cut off and then the hand comes back and starts killing everybody. And I was just freaking afraid of it. And my grandmother used to have these like plastic gloves that she kept in the house for cleaning and shit. And every time I saw them, I would freak out because I was only like 5 or 6 years old, thinking it's this dead hand coming back to kill everybody in the house. And you can get like remote control hands now that'll walk across the ground. You could scare the shit out of kids. And I think it would be hilarious.
Is your idea basically that it's unfair that when you get older, you're not allowed to bully little kids?
Not bully them. I'm saying like the parents are like complaining, like my kid's acting up. Okay, we're going to get the best animatronic specialist to build a demon in his closet that'll pop out the next time the noise level goes over like 3 decibels or whatever. So your kid screams, this demon comes through the wall and scares the shit out of him. It's all caught on camera. It's hilarious.
Would it be also like taking a step farther? Billy Cunningham is 7 years old. He thinks he has a nice, loving family. Turns out he's actually an orphan. We're going to tell him today.
Whatever you think will get a reaction but isn't going to scar him for life, I'd be all game.
Well, we actually, from the age 7 to 18, we're actually put him in the orphanage. Then tell him it was a joke at age 18.
You've been punked. Just kidding.
we got you. You fell for that. We were watching videos of you. We were like, oh, my God, he's crying again. Oh, he misses us. He's in 11 years. It'll be hilarious.
The show gets canceled after 10 years.
So my next idea, I think would be it's just like it's a challenge for 10 people, and I just think it would be such a hard idea and so funny. You take 10 people and you follow them in their daily lives with a video camera. They have to conduct their daily lives. The one thing they have to do, you pick either a vowel, which will be harder, or a consonant, and say they cannot use that letter in speaking. So you say you cannot use the letter E, and you have to conduct your daily life without using the letter E, any words with the letter E, and see how long you can go, and the last one remaining wins. I guess the vowel would be the best one, because just hear people think of things to say without using that one vowel.
That would be like a 45-second show.
I wonder how, the prize is like $1 million. Like, you would just have to think so carefully before you made any word, say anything.
It just depends on the consequences. They did it over here. The Russians got rid of the Ukrainian letter G. I don't know if it was back in the 30s or the 40s. And they seriously enforced it. I don't know how many people got sent to Siberia, but
so it was less a game show, more a sadistic.
Yeah, it was like an ethnic cleansing. Are you pronouncing that letter G? I'm afraid we have a job for you in the Arctic Circle. You know?
Jesus.
We have a new reality show in Russia. It's called Ethnic Cleansing. How do you win? You're not that ethnicity.
So, was it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay, this one is... I think they've already had similar shows. Basically, what would you do for money? But this one would be...
This is a porn site like that also.
It's like every porn site, pretty much. But this would be terrible and sadistic. Like, would you chop... It's like kind of like Let's Make a Deal. Like, would you chop off your pinky toe for $1,000? And basically, you try and keep going up till you see how much money it would take for them to do that. But then you'd really let them chop off their pinky toe.
And then it would be a prank show. Like, you'd be like, you're punked. This is not a real contest. And you don't even have an arm anymore. Man, you fell for it. Oh, and you're not really an orphan.
Yeah, so, that's mine. It'd just be terrible, horrible things, though. Eating barf and jumping from high places without a safety map below. And
So maybe, like, I double dog dare you. But, like, without actually cutting off body parts.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Ben?
My next one, my number 2, is sugar daddies. This would be like The Bachelor, except the guy starts with a budget. And let's say it's a couple $100,000 and there's 50 women. He's got to meet all these women, figure out how much it costs to support them for like a month, and let them compete for him to decide which ones he's willing to be a sugar daddy for until his money runs out. Mm-hmm. And that's the first couple shows. And then once he picks his 5 or 10, he can probably get 3 in Louisiana for the price of 1 in New York, whatever he decides. Then the cameras follow him once he's chosen and see how they sabotage each other to try and get the other, ladies fired.
I'm sorry. I have an idea off your show. Your idea? Hang on. So instead of, I like your idea, but you take 10 women, you rank them in order of looks, just purely looks, and you assign them a cash value in reverse order. And so if you pick the ugliest girl, you get $1 million. You have to marry her. If you pick the middle one, you get $500,000, and and the hottest one you only get $100,000 or $50,000, and see where money and looks come together.
That's interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that idea, but your idea was good also. Your idea was probably better.
All right.
So my next one. I don't know how you would do this one because basically, I want to make 10 people homeless, and see how you put people that have a normal income, maybe they're they were average middle class people. They go in the show. They're basically blindfolded, randomly dropped in a random city, with nothing but the clothes in their back, and see how long they survive. The only thing is that when people see the cameras, they'll give them breaks. You have to hide all the cameras. But see how 10 people survive being homeless.
That's awesome. I like that one a lot.
Cool.
That'd be a real Survivor game.
Well, my next one is actually Real Survivor, which is not on an island, but you put a white guy in Compton. Or you just basically put a person not with anybody from their race or culture and see how they survive. Being the only one of that type.
Or put 3 members from the Klan in Harlem and see how it goes.
Yeah, exactly. And they have to wear their full garb the entire time.
We've all seen Die Hard 3, right?
Yeah.
You remember the scene where he has to go up to Harlem and he has to wear a billboard that says, "I hate N-words"? Mm-hmm. I would say the real word, but I meant on the guts.
Do you remember Super Dave Osborne?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He did a skit where it's Super Dave's going to do the most, challenging and dangerous stunt ever. And he gets all suited up, and then you see him start running, and he's going through a bad neighborhood, crosses some train tracks, and then there's some African Americans there playing dice, and he goes up and steps on their dice and just screams, the N-word at them, and then starts running.
That was Kentucky Fried Movie from the 70s. Yeah, I remember that.
There's a great joke. Artie Lang, who used to be on the Howard Stern show, has this great joke about how because people who are midgets or small people claim the word midget is the same as the N-word. And he's like, I'll tell you how you know it's not the same word. Go up to a black guy, call him the N-word, and go up to a midget and call him a midget and see what happens. He's like, worst case with a midget, you get a bruised knee.
I don't get that whole little people thing. I would rather be called a midget than a little person.
Well, also, midget's a technical term also. There's a difference between a midget and a dwarf.
Yeah.
So how is it a bad word?
It's not a bad word. America has become so crazy. There's what's your 7, 8 bad words, your 4-letter words, and now they have these words that are just offensive.
Yeah.
They don't call them bad words. These are inflammatory. It's retarded or I don't even know, but it's you can't say them. No matter what your tone or what the context, it's not right.
I feel really stupid when I talk about the fact that you're not supposed to use the word retarded, and the only way I can talk about it is by saying the fact that you can't say is retarded. I can't come up with a better way to say the fact that you can't say retarded is retarded.
Yeah, well, I mean, they I had to take this like harassment prevention thing at work, and it's like ridiculous what constitutes harassing now. It's like if I'm talking to somebody else and there's a third person eavesdropping, if they find something we say offensive, that's harassment to them. Like, even if somebody on the other side of the room is like just not minding their own business, they could say they're bothered by what we're saying. And
yeah, like it's even like if I compliment Becky at work and I'm like, that shirt looks nice on you, and I'm not wearing pants, I'm in trouble.
I hate it when I show up at work without my pants.
Yeah. I like the George Carlin theory on it all. There's no such thing as bad words. They're bad people, but they're fine. They're just words.
Well, I'm over here, and it took me about 3 years before I could speak Russian well enough to, not get lost. And when I was needing assistance or a translator, I looked for the dark-skinned people, the Indians, the Arabs, and the Africans, because I knew they spoke a third language. And to me, it's just, I can't call them African Americans because they're not. But if I'm talking to y'all online and I'm trying to talk about someone who's darker skinned, I have to say African American, even though these people are clearly Africans. You
can say African, Ukrainian, Russian, Jewish.
Could be.
I don't like the whole African American thing anyway. Most of them aren't even 1% African. Let's not get into a whole racial discussion, though. Let's do our number 2.
Yes. It's up to you. Oh, no, you did yours right. Number 1, right?
No, I didn't do my number 2 yet.
Oh, what's your number 2? Go.
Yeah.
My number 2 is The Crazies, where you get a house and you find basically all the most insane wandering people. Like, this was inspired by this guy today.
I thought you were going to say the real world.
Well, that's kind of like the real world. Like today, I went out to get lunch, and there's this guy riding a bike in front of my work building. He's wearing a Jesus robe, little pink slippers, and he's riding a tiny pink girl's bike, and he's just waving at everyone he passes on the bike like he's a celebrity. So I'm saying you get him and like 9 other people just as crazy as him, and you just throw them in a house and see what happens. They're all clinically insane.
Was it a Queen of England wave or like a...
Yeah, it kind of was. Yeah. Yeah, it was, waving at the wrist, side to side.
Was it a nice bike?
No, it was just like a 1984 pink girl's Huffy.
Oh, and I know if I'm going to play like Princess Diana, I'm going to get like a nice bike.
Yeah, no, this is clearly not.
Okay, Ben, what's your number 1?
My number 1 is called 30-Year-Old Grandmas. This would be the second generation. You have these 16-year-old moms. There's got to be some ladies that 15 years ago had a kid, and that kid's pregnant now, and it would just be a train wreck.
That's like Sarah Palin's daughter in 5 years.
Pretty much. But
isn't Sarah Palin a grandmother? Well, she's like...
She is. Yeah. But like my sister is... she will be 38 this year. She's a grandmother already. And she had her daughter when she was 19, so it's even younger than that. I mean, I'm talking like... I had a friend in high school, my best friend. His mom... He was born, I think, when she was 16, and it was really weird being like a sophomore in high school, 15 years old, and his mom's like 30. It was just weird.
She's kind of hot.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not going after that angle. I'm just saying there would be, you have the just the insanity of the 16 and pregnant shows. But imagine if there was someone there that the mother is just 15 years older saying, "I told you not to be like me," just. There would be this extra level of train wreck added to it.
That would be fun. Could you just be a contest to produce the youngest grandma?
I wouldn't want to get into that. I've heard of like 9-year-olds having twins in South Texas. It's just awful.
Well, I mean, you could probably just follow the girls from Teen Mom too. I'm sure in a couple of years their kids will be having kids.
You know, there really are girls that try to get pregnant to go on that show.
I know. Can you imagine? You're 14, you have a baby, and you're like, oh, I didn't get picked for the show, but my life is screwed up for the rest of my life.
You're like, fuck, and I have him.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a whole class that tried to do that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
There's a whole class in Boston. They all got pregnant, and like none of them
40% are pregnant.
Yeah, like none of them got picked for the show. I think that's awesome.
Oh, it's awful.
Well, we have where I'm from in Texas used to lead the nation in teenage pregnancy rate, Nueces County, and they filmed actually on our naval base there, part of Pearl Harbor, the movie. And when Ben Affleck was there, he said, "Hey, what's there to do around here? What are y'all famous for?" And one of the extras that was local said, "Well, we're known for our teenage pregnancy rate."
Nice.
So he stayed on base pretty much.
I thought you were going to say, so he got a couple teens pregnant.
There could be some little Bens around there that aren't mine. So,
okay, so my number one. My number one is also based off the real world, but a little different take on it. You know how basically you have basically 10 people or whatever number of people in the real world, and but they're all pre-screened ahead of time, and the network picks the people. Instead, each week you have like 15 videos from people, and the audience votes on whoever they want to see in the real world. And over 10 weeks, you pick the cast for the real world. And then basically America's picked 10 complete whack jobs they want us to live together.
Yeah, that's good. Because at this point, the real world is just 10 models that get drunk and have sex.
Which, if America wants to do that, that's great. If they want to see the bunch of racists, that's great too.
I would rather just see a room full of insane people.
That's basically probably what we'd end up with anyhow. It'd be like one Nobel laureate and 9 people who eat their own feces.
Yeah, that would be good. They would have to have one like super conservative person in there that has to deal with all these people.
or you could have, what's John's from Random Ass Radio, his rednecks versus retards.
The uprising that won't probably happen.
Yeah. Well, no, he went off on a show 138, I think, or 139, where he's talking about gorilla strength and people with Down syndrome.
Yeah.
Jay, what's your number one?
My number one, and this may actually really happen, it's just Ron Artest. I don't care what he does, what he's doing. I just want a camera following Ron Artest. He changed his name to Meta World Peace yesterday.
Yeah, I was going to say he's not Ron Artest anymore.
Yeah, anybody that crazy needs to have their own reality show. I know,
but isn't Meta with one T? Have you heard him pronounce it? Is it Meta or Meta or something like that?
It's 2 T's. It has. I was watching on ESPN what Meta meant. It means like loving kindness in a. I'm looking right. I don't know what language it's from, but it means like loving kindness in some language.
So it's a foreign word. They don't mean meta like the overall.
According to where I'm reading right here, the poly word. I don't know what poly even fucking means. Meta is a multi-significant term meaning loving kindness, friendliness, goodwill, benevolence, pedophilia, fellowship, amity, and concord, and a bunch of other words. And this is under, I think it's under Buddhism, basically. Something related to Buddhism.
And he still doesn't have the coolest basketball name ever. I got to go with World Be Free.
I actually had to go with God Shamagod.
Was that a real NBA name?
He played college ball. Let me look at this if he actually ever played. Rick Riley did a whole piece in Sports Illustrated about how you had to draft this guy because he'd be like, who do you always want to? Who do you always pray to win the game? God. He'll be on your team.
World Be Free was actually really good, by the way.
Was he?
Yeah, he averaged 25 points a game for 7 straight years.
So God Shamgod was picked by the Wizards in 97-98 in the second round. But he ended up playing in the Chinese Basketball Association before. He never really played in the NBA.
Damn it. All right,
we played 20 games for the Wizards. Never mind.
That's disappointing.
But Meta, what the hell's wrong with him? Not God, but Meta.
Oh, what's your number one, Ben?
That was my number one. The 30-year-old grandmas.
Oh, okay.
Y'all doubled me up on one of them.
That's right.
Y'all...
That's right.
Yeah. So, do we have anything else for the show? Anything you want to promote from the Ukraine?
No, they're paying me plenty to promote it. I shouldn't get into work here, so.
Do you want to take one of our reality shows and call us in a year when you haven't made $1 million? When you say you're not a millionaire from this either.
I'm actually in contact with a couple of people who work in Hollywood. One's a director, one's a sound tech guy. And the sound tech guy has worked on a lot of shows. He was on one reality show where I guess it was bartenders trying to piss off bar patrons or something like that. And he's been on a couple, so I'll see what he thinks about it. I'll send him a link to the show, and he can hear it all.
I'm in contact with the guy that cuts the meat down at Hollywood Deli, so I can see if I can work that in.
I'm in contact with Mark.
Are you the mayor there, though?
Jay is the mayor. If for those who don't have Twitter, Jay has been elected mayor. Explain, Jay.
Well, yeah, I'm the mayor of Wandy's Market in Astoria, so I know you're all jealous.
I'm the mayor of this black cushion chair underneath my air conditioner. That's about it.
Do people even know about Foursquare? I don't even know if people are on that anymore.
I've heard about it, but I heard it's being used equally by thieves as it is by actual users. If you've got it on and they can tell, oh, you're at Wandy's, well, then they're breaking your window.
Yeah, there's a site called justrobme.com, and it reposts all the posts that say I'm at so-and-so. I think that's the greatest thing.
So it's right up there with the Apple apps that tell you where the sobriety checkpoints are.
Yeah, exactly. Modern technology.
I love when someone gets in trouble for posting something online. Like they end up going to prison because they just had to tell people on Facebook.
I know. It's so awesome. You heard about the guy who robbed a house, but while he was robbing, he logged in on their home computer to Facebook and forgot to log out.
I saw that.
Oh, my God. People are so dumb.
He should get arrested twice just for being that. Like, if you're that stupid, you should get, double the penalty. That is just nonsense. Anyway, I think we're running pretty long, so.
Yeah, this is one of our longer ones.
It's probably getting light out where Ben is right now.
Yeah, we're at 2 hours with only a 2-minute break, so it's a good chunk of audio.
Yeah, that's you get more of a break at at a play.
You're over your federally mandated work allowance here. I demand a 15-minute break.
If we were at the Spider-Man musical, Spider-Man would already have been horribly injured. We would have been on our way home.
You know what I love about that? I haven't seen the musical, but I remember when it was being produced, it was they're like, Spider-Man the musical would sound ridiculous, but it'll be the music of U2. You're like, well, I mean, at least the saving grace will be the music of U2.
Unless you hate U2, like me.
Well, yeah, but most people like U2. Mm-hmm. It turns out the worst part of the play, apparently, according to reviewers, is the music. It's even the fact that you're doing Spider-Man on Broadway is so dumb, but it's not worse than the actual music.
Yeah, what's funny is Toxic Avenger the musical got much better ratings than Spider-Man the musical.
I'd probably see Toxic Avenger first.
And Evil Dead the musical.
Was that really a musical?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I missed both of those, and I really want to see those.
Oh, I would have seen Evil Dead. Evil Dead's
Which
hilarious.
part was it?
I think it was the third one because he had the chainsaw hand.
Oh, the Army of Darkness?
Yeah.
I would have seen that.
Unless maybe they just condensed them all into one nice little package. I don't know.
I've only even seen the third one. The third one's really good, though.
Third one, the first two are even better.
Really?
Yeah, you're missing out.
Oh, maybe I should see them.
Well, the first one was kind of trying to be all scary. The second one was half camp, half scary. And the third one was all campy.
Yeah, I like the fact it was all campy. I don't know.
Well, the second one's my favorite because it's got a nice mix of the two.
Yeah.
Anyway, now we've run really, really long.
Yeah, now we've run really long, and I think we're out of most things to say. So I think we're going to cut this off. And thank Brad for coming on the show.
And Ben.
Why did I say Brad? You know what I'm looking? I don't know. I'm looking at as I was doing it, I just put my email up, and I get this the thing called BradDeals.com.
Brad Pitt nudie pictures.
Yeah, I get naked pictures of Brad Pitt. So I saw the word Brad. I'm like, Brad.
Well, you're pronouncing it wrong. It's Ben with 2 N's. So.
Okay, I'll just call you by your middle name, Jammin.
Appreciate it.
So, yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for not bad-mouthing me. Let me tell my side.
You got farther than we could have.
Yeah, you've been fun. Anytime you want to come on, even if you don't have $1 million idea for us, you're welcome to come on the show.
Well, Jay has my mobile number. If y'all feel like waking me up in the middle of the night to ask me random-ass questions, feel free.
Jay,
as long as it's Saturday or Sunday the next day, I don't have to work.
Jay, does your long-distance plan cover calling the Ukraine?
No, but I already lose so much money on the show. What's another couple $100 in long-distance bills?
Well, you can Skype me. It's only like 13 cents a minute.
Yeah, that's true.
Just to wake me up is probably worth the fit I'll throw.
To hear your wife yelling at you in the background.
Who the fuck are you? Oh, hi, Jay.
I was not serious, you a-hole.
I was drunk and it was a figure of speech.
No, there's a special ring when it's an international call on all the phones here.
Ah.
So you know it's coming in from outside of the country. And it's like I never get a good call. It's like someone's in the hospital, someone died, the bank is calling. Mm-hmm. Nobody ever says like, hey, what's a good reality show you'd like to see? Or, answer us this question. Sleeping drunk guy.
All right, so yes, we are ending it. Facebook group, Brink of Sanity. Go to brinkofsanityshow.com. Check out our rants. We're 11 in on our 1001 rants now.
I've kind of since we started doing the baby site, have not done the rant site as much.
I made one.
I know you did.
And then 631-676-1181 is the voicemail. Twitter, Nick of Sanity. That's Nick with a K. And
New Daddy Hood. Just do a search for New Daddy Hood and you'll find my site. Or it's on the link for the Brink of Sanity sites.
Yep, brinkofsanityshow.com. New Daddy Hood and our basketball podcast are both linked on there. And iTunes reviews. And I don't know, just promote the show because I don't know how to. And that's why the show's not where I want it to be right now. So do that. Tell your friends. And there's something else I'm forgetting, but nobody does anything I tell them to anyway, so I guess it really doesn't matter. So we'll
drink online.
Yeah, drink online. And if any millionaires are listening to the show, $820,000 will get the site fully up and running.
Fully operational for 3 years.
And if anyone really wants us to, we might just change the name of the site to, or the podcast to the Meta World Peace Podcast.
Yes. And if you do give us the $820,000, we will reimburse that once the site is profitable, right?
Payback period less than 3 years.
Payback period less than 3 years. So there you go.
You could be really, really rich, and so could we.
Yes.
If you provide all the financing.
This is the end. Say goodbye. I'm gonna leave you. It's the end. Goodbye. Goodbye. Just leave me alone. Feels so good to say goodbye. I'm sick and tired and I'm saying goodbye. Goodbye, girl. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Everybody.
So are you a father yet?
No, I am. It will happen very, very soon. Actually, my wife is actually in the other room. Labor has started, but it's too far away for us to do anything. So she's trying to take a nap.
I suggest McDonald's and champagne.
There have been a lot of. Actually, what's been suggested to us has been like anything hot, like spicy, like Indian food or chili. And so she's had in the last 2 days had 2 really brutal bowls of hot chili. And maybe we're hoping that's, I don't know. She's like, make me some hot chili. So I took a can of chili, and filled half, like it was like the chili and like the entire bottle of Tabasco sauce. She was almost cursing me as she was like eating it, but she's like, no, I want to eat this. I want this baby out of me already.
I have 3 kids, and the first 2 we delivered at home in the bathtub with a midwife, just because I didn't want my wife to go through all the hassle of a Ukrainian hospital at the time. It's 10 years ago.
Holy shit.
So I've been nurse's assistant or doctor's assistant on 2 deliveries in my own bathroom.
So for your wife, did the contractions like happen over a couple of days? Did it all just happen right at once?
You need to go by the date of your earliest sonogram, because my first son was really huge, and they gave him a date of beginning of January, and then as he grew, they kept moving the date up, and they told us like December 18th, and he ended up being born 3 weeks later, like 2 days before the first sonogram he had. And we were so worried, we kept going back and forth to the midwife, and just the day before he was born, we walked in there, and she gave my wife a physical examination and said, well, you're having contractions now. Why don't you feel them? So she told us to go home. So we went home, went through McDonald's, got, something to eat, came home, it was Ukrainian Christmas Eve for the Orthodox Catholic. And so we came home and had champagne, and like 6 hours later, he was born on Christmas morning here. So she didn't even know she was in labor.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Second one was kind of the same. She was past her due date, so they gave her a shot of something that they said, you'll go into labor within 10 hours. So we just came home and waited, and it started like 8 hours later.
My wife wants to avoid the induction part because she's worried that it'll lead to a C-section. But I think it's more common here, like for doctors to do C-sections than anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, my last kid was born in the U.S. C-section.
Yeah. It's like the default here. Oh, you're in labor. We can just do a C-section. Nobody can just do natural. Yeah, but natural, I have a golf game. Oh, and if anything happens over here, I will have to interrupt. But I don't think we're going to have anything imminent.
You can just call up and, do the show remotely from your cell. While,
I see the head.
She'll really appreciate that.
Honey, do you want to go on? I'm an asshole? Yeah. But do you want to...
Put her on the phone. Put the phone near her vagina.